Oh dang, I'm live. Hey, what's up, everybody? Let's see. What's up, One Loyal King? What's up, Daniel? What's up, Backwood Rider? Okay, brothers, I am going to have a guest on today. Um, Part of the argument I'm gonna make today, she would be my subject matter expert or my expert witness, so to speak. Um, she studied. Her name is Khadijah. What is it? I'm revealing, no, the unveiling Khadijah, or with, oh, the unveiling with Khadijah. I'm gonna get it right. Sorry about that, unveiling with Khadijah. But anyway, special woman, but a subject matter expert in part of the stuff we're going to talk about today. All right. Sorry about the music, but I don't know what I did with my speaker. It is neither here or there, doesn't really matter. Hey, what's up, Zimaloo? So, hey, brothers, this is going to be a deep one because what I'm trying to convey here is that we are at war. And when I say we, I'm talking about women like Khadijah, our sisters, and and the good brothers. Some of y'all popped in on a video I made earlier. And I want y'all to understand that I made that particular video to just lay down a record that can't be erased unless I erase it. All right. And this is the battle that we have to fight. And it's a sad battle that we have to fight, that not only are we fighting the BAW, we're fighting the system, and we have to fight against dudes that come to just destroy, take you down, whose words you can't trust, and stuff like that. And stuff. And I'm thinking, like, for the action that's happening, it's sad that I'm gonna have to get the police involved for all this mess that is going on. Which then does what? It makes it more difficult to try to do things within the community. It's the reason why people are dropping out of the community, right? And so I'm thinking that at this moment, I'm going to have to take a whole lot of losses, all because I trusted. But here's the thing. How did we get here to where our main adversary, I want y'all to hear this. How did we get here to where our main adversary is us? You turn and you look around, it's going to be the simps, it's going to be the players, it's going to be the pimps, it's going to be the swindlers. And we're talking about the black swindlers that will swindle the Afro man, the family, the community. When you look around us, we got a bunch of swindlers that's been lying on you as Afro men, on me as an Afro man, about the good sisters, right? And at the head of that, at the head of this has been our mothers, sisters, aunts, and in some cases, grandmothers. And so this war we're at, this war that we're engaged in, what is the I'm better than you? The BAW has been propped up by the system. What's up, Nesman 99? The BAW has been propped up by the system and so gassed up, all right, that because they think they are now superior and supreme to the Afro man, seeking that white supremacy kind of thing against the Afro men, being the right hand of it, that they lied about our history. Some of us believed a lie, like where things came from. Some of us weren't taught the truth, so we were lied to by omission about how hard Afro men really fought. And we were lied to, and by the Black woman, the lies continue to be spread as to the makeup of the Afro family as far as responsibility. You know, the Black man held them, the man held the Black woman down and did all this mean stuff to her. That's a lie. All right. And we're going to talk about the relationship between the Afro man and the Afro woman, his wife. And no, there were no marriage documents. There were no marriage licenses. That's the other lie. All right. So we're going to break down all these lies, but we're going to start with the biggest one first. That the condition of the breakup of the Black family is because of welfare and the prison system. That's not only a lie, but a red herring. But it has an error of truth to it, but we don't really know the history of welfare. And so that's why I got my special guest on here. All right. So that we can really go on over the history of a lot of things. So we're going to cover a few things. You know how they say the Black man never fought? No, there was a lot of fighting going on behalf of the community as a whole. The fighting stopped when the Black woman separated herself from the community. Now there's a new world war going on between the Afro man and the Black woman. And we got some of those sisters engaged with the Afro man, right? And understand this. But we got Afro men being wise enough to know that sisters are rare. All right, sisters are rare. They are rubies. And so to get somebody that's white quality, that will follow your lead, providing that you could be a leader, you have to go elsewhere. And now we got the passport people. And you know, I've been talking about this with Charles Tyler for a while. Some of y'all that's been around for a while. And you know, we stayed on the phone, me and Charles Tyler, about this for a while. All right. At one point, I was going to work with Al Grease, but you know, he's way ahead of the curve on his second two movies, while I took a different path to be involved in the communities in Brazil and in Colombia. Right. That's all we did was fight. So let me greet everybody real quick. Guten Hardu Gudag, Ola Oiterbang, Vasas Los, Bonjour mes amis, Kedabani Konnichiwa, Ni hao ni ama, Sani Bonani, Jambo Habarigani, Assalamu alaikum, and Shalom. Now, we're going to say, yes, that's all we did was fight. But if we're not aware of the history and how we fought, who we were called when we did fight, when stuff, see, we're ignorant of a lot of things. Like, we don't know when welfare really started. I didn't know. I've been telling y'all something different. I've been telling y'all welfare started in 65 or something. right? Okay. Oh, there's a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and so and remember the radio show me and Charles did together from time to time. Blog Talk Radio. All right. So basically, so let me greet everybody. Geworden hardu gudag ola oitervein vasas los bonjour mes amis kedu bawini konnichiwa. Niama sani bonani. Jumbo herbayani. Assalamu alaikum shalom. Kumustaka, kumustapokaya, and talafa lava soy fua. All right. So as we start breaking this stuff down, all right, we know a lot of brothers is going to come in kind of late, but they could go back to the beginning of this. We have a lot of stuff that's out here right now. We have Daughters of a Trade, right? We got books like Daughters of a Trade. We just have a lot of stuff out here right now that people need to be aware of. All right, people just really need to be aware of, and go and read these things. Read these things we have out. That's out right here. All right, and the reason being is we are kept so much in the dark. It's ridiculous. All right, we are really kept in the dark about a lot of things, and a lot of while we are kept in the dark is our fault. All right, a lot of it is our fault, and it's our fault because a lot of us refuse to learn something. We refuse to study. We Google something and we think, that's it. I Googled it. All right. Pernell Ibsen is the author of Daughters of the Trade, the Caribbean Genealogy Library. All right. She did a lecture 2016. All right. And so, and we talked about that a little bit, but get the book or go and look at Pernille, Pernille, Ibsen, and watch the whole video, her whole lecture of her lecture. All right. It's going to be simply shocking. It's going to be simply shocking. All right. So watch the whole video. Now, as we start to get into this, all right, as we start to get into this and start breaking some stuff down, all right, one of the things I want y'all to understand, is that many people are going to run from the truth. Many people are going to be late to the truth. All right. And a lot of people are going to be distracted from the truth, and only a few are going to get it. Period. Only a few are going to get it. All right. So, as we get into this, again, let me remind you, just right off the top, that the Afro man had always been the target. So this documentary by Dennis Mueller and Deb Ellis, all right, they discussed the goals. The prevention of a Black nationalist group, prevention of a rise of a messiah who could unify and electrify the militant Black nationalist movement, prevention of the militant Black nationalist group and leaders from gaining respectability by discrediting them to the community. The biggest way they discredit these men is they parade a bunch of women up to lie about SA or any kind of sexual innuendo type discretion. Period. There was a police report out a while back. Y'all remember it. I still have it. I still have the thing where they went and found that 75% of the R way, were the grapes, our grapes, were false. Now, the sad part is the 25% that were true is something to worry about, because that's a lot of women. All right. But 75% were false. They hid that information. And now they're weaponizing the lie to discredit anybody that they think might be a threat. And they're going after any man that gets too popular with too many people listening to them. Which is why I tell y'all need to stop worshiping. This is why in scripture, this is why we do not worship, bow down to anyone in the heavens above, in the earth, and in the waters under the earth. We do not make images of anything and bow down to them. And the sad part is a lot of dudes are making images and bowing down to them. And the final goal should be to prevent the long-range growth of a militant Black nationalist organization, especially among the youth. All right. So this is what it is. It is what it is. All right. This is the goal in the United States. We're not free. This means that the FBI's target, this is from the COINTELPRO paper, it is exactly, all right, it is exactly what's going on today. It is exactly what is going on today. Only anybody, now they're weaponizing it even against white people, say like Trump. Y'all mean to tell me these same people that's lied, that's assassinated good men since their inception, that's lied on, that illegally wiretap good men like Malcolm X, Fred Hampton and them, and assassinated them because they were doing good? You mean to tell me you still trust them people? Oh, because you support a racist that you put in office. And now some people, many people that put them in office are crying, but we warned them. We warned them. But there was so much seething hate in the hearts of many in this country that the country is getting exactly what it deserves. All right. And now for us, because we did not realize that we were in a battle as Afro men, all right, we have lost ground. But worse than that, our children have been hopelessly put in a precarious situation that they cannot survive the so-called single Black mother. I was on the TikTok live and we were discussing that the worst place you can put a child when it can't be with the mother and the father is with the mother, statistically. And this is across the globe. This is across the globe. And the courts know this. So why do they do it? Is it that they want weak men and the destruction of families so that they have easy access to the minds and bodies of the children? They'll have self-made warriors or anything they need them to be, because they'll be. Look at how brain whipped most of the people are when they try to defend stuff. There is no honor, no integrity, no decency. They don't believe in any good. They only believe to do what their feelings feel. You'll take a lot of people are taking these movements and they're going around and they're talking about stuff Biden is doing, but they're saying, oh, Trump is doing these things that Biden actually did. And people's like, oh, he needs to go to jail. But then when they turn around, but the news actually says that it was Biden. Now, do you think he needs to go? They said, well, Laura, well, you got to understand Biden. This is a sick country. Right now, this country is sick and on its deathbed. It has a cancer of people that have no integrity, no truth left in them. All right. And it's worse for us because white people got a cold. That means we got the damn flu. All right. And so since the 60s, Black women have decided to fight against sisters. They call them pick-me's. If they want to be good women, feminine woman, they call them pick-me. They call them everything else, right? And when I was going to Brazil with my passport and talking about it and putting my video, they didn't care because it was just me, the nerd. But now all the thugs are going. All right. And now they're like, oh, we got to do something different. But no, remember, they are agents. All right. And they attack sisters. Remember, they attack sisters. They call them pick-me's and everything else. Right. They're going after the sisters and they're going after good Afro men. And they're doing all this on behalf of the white soup. The white sup. And they're doing it for money, and they want the white power over the Afro man. In other words, they are fighting to wield the whip. Now it ain't an actual whipping now. Now the whip is the court system. All right? Everything the white women needed them to fight for, like this, they fought for against the Afro family. All right. And this whole time, we lost sight of what really killed the family. We look at the tools. And we're about to discuss one in a minute. All right. But that isn't what did the family in. Because when these tools were created for the white family, we were still doing good as a family. All right. And so now we're going to have this breakdown. And then I have on up in here. And here we go. We're going to start with this. I have a sister that's going to address this welfare thing and other things that's tied to it, because this is her thing. She is the subject matter expert in this thing right here. All right. So this is the first segment, and to break down this segment, I'm gonna have her go at it and bring y'all up to speed on the history of what is really going on. And if she can reiterate and talk about the feminist movement as well, because she's, like I said, the subject matter expert on that as well. All right. So, Khadijah, the floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Hold
Thanks for
on, hold on.
having me.
Hey, y'all, can y'all hear her?
I got in headphones, so hopefully.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thanks for having me. It's always good to come in and try to, give people a little bit of the history part that we don't really know about or that we not that don't fit the narrative really. So to kind of like bring it all the way up to speed, just to, like you said, briefly touch on the feminism movement and all of that good stuff. So the Women's Rights Convention, they had the convention in 1848 in Seneca Falls, where they had their Declaration of Sentiments and resolutions that mirrored the Declaration of Independence. White women had to come insert themselves. So they wanted to beg for like the right to vote, the right to work, own property, all that good stuff. Now, after their convention in 1848, they was able to get everything that they asked for except the right to vote. So after that, they started the women's suffrage movement in 1869, which was led by Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. And, that basically is where they juxtaposed themselves to black men and said, how dare black men get the right to vote before us? Like, they're dumb, they're nothing, you know, they shouldn't have rights over us. Like, we're better than them. So that attitude of superiority and privilege and entitlement was very well aware back in the 1800s. And it's important to note because they didn't get, or they finally got that right to vote in 1920. Now, from 1848 to 1920 is what I would kind of call, the white women begging era. And so I think that's important to note because when you think about what Black people were doing, we were enslaved and still trying to fight for freedom. And so with that, after white women got the, rights and everything, and then after they got their right to vote, the other important thing that happened from like 1870 to 1920 was a bunch of European immigrants started coming over. So we done built this country. Black men was supposed to be getting the right to vote. They basically diss black men, and then they start letting all of they people come over and reap all the benefits of what we built economically. And so, of course, with all of these people and their kids coming over here from a whole other country that didn't have anything, um, the Great Depression came, right? So stuff just started going downhill. People didn't have places to live. It wasn't enough jobs. It wasn't enough money, all of that good stuff. So, as a response to all of that, Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced the New Deal in 1935. So in 1935, Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced the New Deal. And as a part of the New Deal, it was basically like a conglomerate of different like programs and like financial reforms and different like regulations and work projects. All of those different type of things was a part of the New Deal. When Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office to basically help rebuild the economy and basically help the white people who was coming over here and just kind of avoiding the people who was already here and doing all of the work. They just kind of basically deflected from what black people was asking for and providing us with anything, and then just started addressing the needs of the European immigrants. So with the New Deal, like I said, it was a bunch of different like programs and regulations and stuff, basically a bunch of handouts for white people. And one of those things was the Social Security Act, which was what they called the second New Deal. So they had like the first New Deal, and then they had like the second New Deal. So the Social Security Act was a part of the second New Deal, and that second New Deal basically was to address like pension and retirement for old people. It was basically to address unemployment. And then it was also to address like needy children and, basically women with children. So the Social Security Act had a program called ADC, which was Aid for Dependent Children. And that was basically like the start of a formal um, um, welfare program, if you will, for individual women with children. And I actually have pulled up a little thing, and it showed like show specifically what the act was called or what the act stated, and it basically said it was to provide for the general welfare by establishing a system of federal old age benefits and by enabling several states to make more adequate provision for aged persons, blind persons, dependent and crippled children, maternal and child welfare, public health, and the administration of their unemployment compensation laws, and to establish a Social Security board to raise revenue and for other purposes. So that was
So let me,
basically under the Social Security Act.
and let me reiterate. So this is 1935,
Right.
30 plus years before 1965, to when we all thought, until now, to when many of us thought welfare actually began. But it began for white people, the whole family and stuff, 1935.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And the part where, a lot of people, like you said, think it was it started in 1965 is because, after the World War II, now again, this was a federal program, but it was the decisions to distribute these resources was left up to the states. So technically they didn't have any writing in there that said it couldn't be given to Black people, but having it left up to the states, allowed that bias. They didn't have nobody, it wasn't no Black people in there
Like,
handing out the resources.
if you're in Alabama and Mississippi or
It was out of luck.
Virginia.
You was out of luck, exactly. And so it was another thing that when I was researching this, it was talking about. So it says, it said that the language from the original Social Security bill outlawed racial discrimination was totally removed from the bill. So it gave states the silent permission to discriminate. And it the aid to dependent children's program, it was administered at a local level, leaving more room for racial discrimination in some states. The federal government did not participate in personnel or administration in the individual states, and it allowed discrimination in hiring Black people to be welfare workers. And so it left, like you just said, poor Southern children and women to just kind of fend for themselves. And the way that they kept them from being able to receive it was they basically said that women who had suitable work or women that were employable mothers weren't allowed to receive it. And then it says that the same standards was not applied to white women who was basically stay-at-home mothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, it kind of, yeah, it's just crazy because it just goes to show that it wasn't ever something that was meant for Black people, no matter how you kind of sliced it. So the other piece that I wanted to point out with this too is that in 1935 they also approved for the support of widows of retired workers and their children, and they had another program called the Old Age Insurance Provision Act. And so basically this allowed women who, if they did have children, if they were widows, they was like they had a separate program for them, so they basically had more money to allocate to women who just had children. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. That they basically like made a separate sector for women who just were flat out widows, and then they had another program for women who was just having children, whether they was married or not. But
Hey,
again,
did you
white
catch?
only.
Did you catch Nessman's comment right here? White fathers were leaving their families after
Mm,
the war.
mm. Okay, and that's actually interesting that he said that. Okay, so after World War II, it says individual states and localities tried to control the growth and cost of ADC. This resulted in more restrictive policies, including more suitable home policies, which were, used for racial discrimination, and then man in the house policies. And so I think that this is kind of around where we started having access to it, like around the 50s
Mhm.
and the 60s. And
Uh,
um
so basically, so around the 50s and the 60s, right? That's when we was thinking it began, right? But welfare was long before then, right?
Right.
Except the family, the Afro family, through all that turmoil and need for welfare, we pretty much stayed together as a community. As a matter of fact, all the way up to the 50s, our families were prospering.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all the way up to the 50s. This means even after the war, our families were prospering. So if welfare existed starting in 1935, it
Mm-hmm.
was primarily given to white people and white women, and the farm subsidies were given to white farmers. And according to Martin Luther King, which he learned from the nation, not only did they give subsidies to them, they actually taught them how to farm and then
Mm-hmm.
paid them when they didn't want them to farm as much, like
Mm-hmm.
they did now, right? And so basically, and the way they're paying these white farmers now, they're not doing the same for the Afro farmers. But look who's the president,
Mm-hmm.
okay, right now. And it's been always somebody who was against Afro people. But again, Afro people put him in office. All right, go ahead. You was about to say something?
I was gonna say, to your point about the farmers, that was another thing that was a part of the New Deal, the Farm Credit Act. That was another something that was a part of the New Deal, like you said, that basically gave money to farmers. And then the other one was it was the conservative, let me see. It was basically like a program that trained and put white men in position to get jobs by giving them training, paying for housing, and then paying them a salary, all to help them, get employment and all of that, to teach, like you said, teach them how to do these things that we had already been doing and knew how to do. But instead of them giving us that opportunity, they paid for them to do it, and they paid for them so it was called the Conservation Corps, and it was created under the Emergency Conservation Act, and it put unemployed, unskilled young white men to work on rural and park improvements. And they paid for housing, they paid for uniforms, and they also paid them while they did this as well. So that was also a part of the New Deal. Again, keeping in mind that this is after all of these European immigrants came over to the United States.
Uh-huh. And so in these lies, so you have the first thing, right? And so um when we look at these things, then um, so welfare clearly was not the reason for the breakup of the Afro family. All right, the prison system. All right, so let's get into this real quick, and I'll deal with this. Y'all see the graph? Y'all see the graph. The prison system was not the reason either for the breakup of the Afro family. And after I finish this point, I would like for you to go back into this, is because if we look at this, there's a culprit, and and the studies you did on with the problem really is when you get rid of the evidence that suggests that we did good under welfare when it was given to white people, right? All the way up to the 50s. So what happened, say, in 1954 onwards to today, that would cause the family to break apart? If we look in here, we look at 1960, family breakdown and Black incarceration. Um, Percentage of births to unmarried Black women, right? And when you look at 1960, so it was lower before 1960, right? It was at 20%, 1960. So that's a massive jump, but that means that 80% of children grew up in two-parent households. where the father and the mother were present. Now, if you also look at the bottom, the prison admissions for Afro males, 1960 to 2011. All right, I want you to look at something significant. If you look from 1960 to 1970, there was a drop in prison admissions for males. So then the question would be, right, why was there an upward trajectory of the single mom household from 1960 all the way to the present day? All right. Whereas the upward trajectory don't start to spike until between 1980 and 1991 when we talk about the Afro male. All right. Now, and when we look at this, again, this states that children are better off with both parents. Children is better off with both parents. They are worse off with the single mom. They are worse off with the single mom. In all cases across the world, they are worse off with the single mom. All right. And so now we can rule out welfare as the cause of the demise of the Afro family. Now we can rule out incarcerations. And let's say even if incarcerations was spiking, when you look at the incarceration rate, roughly 1% of Afro men are incarcerated, right? But the 1% of Afro men coming out of the jail and prison system are the ones that the Black women have been choosing since the 80s, and probably before. All right, well, in the 1960s, 1970s, y'all seen that video where the girls during the Moynihan report said, well, their moms taught them that they could just screw anybody because welfare is going to be there for them, right? But if you look at it, they weren't messing with the majority of Afro men. By far, the majority of Afro men have always worked. But women intentionally did not choose this. Why? That's the question. So we're going to rule that out for that reason. All right. That even if it was that, why would they choose the dudes coming out of jail and prison over the working men? Why? All right. So if it's not welfare and if it's not the prison system, then what is it? All right. What do we have that tore the family apart? What is the culprit? All right. What is the culprit? All right. Prison system is not the reason for the single moms. All right. The prison system is not the reason for the single moms. And the welfare system is not the reason for the single mom. All right. So what is it? All right. Now, I'm going to say this. In my humble belief, it's feminism. And this one, again, this is Khadijah's the expert on this topic because she studied this well too. Can you tell us this history about feminism?
Yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, the women's rights movement, they had in 1848, and the godmother of feminism, as I like to call her, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, she was an entitled, privileged white woman who complained about being oppressed. And it just kind of goes to show you, like, when people internalize things and then they have a mental problem and it goes unaddressed, how far it can go when it's coupled with privilege and resources. So she came from a pro-slavery family, and all of her brothers had died. And obviously, as a white man in that time, if you don't have any sons, you don't have anybody to carry on the slave, stuff that you want to have carried on. So her father shared sentiments with her, about him being sad that he didn't have any sons. And so she internalized that to say, oh, well, he don't have any sons. Well, I can do anything a man can do. And she carried that out after she went to a anti-slavery convention with her husband, who just happened to be an abolitionist, which was actually crazy, because if you from pro-slavery, why would you get with an abolitionist? So they went to an anti-slavery convention in London that doubled as their honeymoon. And when she wasn't able to get into the convention and do what she want, again, despite her not really caring about slavery or abolishing slavery, she was just upset at the fact that she couldn't get into the convention because she was a woman. And so she took that hostility about that. She took the stuff that her father told her, oh, well, I wish I could do anything a man could do. And then years later in 1848, she got with some other Quaker women and had a women's rights convention that mirrored the anti-slavery convention that she went to in 1840 with her husband. And they put together a 350 plus person convention in 10 days. They put together a document called the Declaration of Sentiments that mirrored the Declaration of Independence that Black people was trying to, fight and get rights for. And they basically, on a 2 or 3 day convention, they got literally everything that they wanted, everything that they asked for: the right to vote, the right to educate, or I'm sorry, not the right to vote, the right to education, the right to own property, all of those things they got. The only thing that they didn't get was the right to vote. And, of course, as we all know, after the Civil War, Black men were supposed to get the right to vote. And they amended, I can't remember which amendment it was, but they changed it to say that it would be men. Just, it didn't say white men, it just said men. So Black men were supposed to get that right to vote. And because white women, they got everything else that they wanted, but they didn't get that right to vote. So then they started the women's suffrage movement in 1869. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and she got with Susan B. Anthony. And this is where a lot of the time Black people and Black women specifically want to say, oh, well, Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth was feminists because they was helping fight. But that was really, it was because they were joining forces to try to get Black men their right to vote. So they was not fighting on behalf of white women. They were fighting on behalf of Black people. And eventually Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and any other Black people that was involved with that women's rights convention bowed out, because they're like, okay, well, if y'all ain't trying to fight, if it ain't,
For
y'all ain't trying
the
to. Mhm.
if it ain't for the community. But say that again. The Sojourner Truth and them were fighting, helping Black men fight for the rights of the
Yes,
people.
right.
And today you got Black women fighting for the rights of white women.
Correct, correct. And they want to
And
bring
that's
them
the
up.
difference.
And they bring them up every time. If you Google feminism or Black feminism or whatever, it'll always have a picture of Sojourner Truth and talk about how she was at the women's rights convention in 1848. But it wasn't as if she was there on behalf of white women. It was because she was there because they were under the guise that they were trying to help, because it was some of the
They
women
were
that were.
abolitionists.
Yes, exactly, because they were Quakers. And that's the thing. Elizabeth Cady Stanton joined these Quakers at their Tea Party. The Quakers already had their little thing about trying to abolish slavery, but Elizabeth came to the Tea Party and was just like, oh, well, nope, I'm a white woman and I'm mad and I'm oppressed because I gotta take care of my husband and my
She
kids
was
and
a
my.
Karen.
She was a Karen, basically. Yep, she was a Karen, and she came and rained on their parade. And then, of course, they gonna side. I mean, they white, so they like, okay, well, let's just come
They
on and
changed their platform to
correct,
about from being about abolishing slavery
correct.
to abolishing for women's rights.
Correct.
And they wanted all the rights, but they didn't want the responsibility of having to go to war.
Correct. Correct.
Interesting. All
And
right.
they took all of, they got, like I said, they started their women's suffrage movement in 1869. Elizabeth Cady Stanton joined forces with Susan B. Anthony, and that's why you'll always hear her name come up in it too. And they basically kept that suffrage movement going to get the right to vote. And then Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and all of the other Black people that might have been in it fighting, because it was also a small, at one point in time, where they had a group of white women who were working with Black women too to help Black men get the right to vote. But then they eventually just assimilated back into one group.
Right. So that brings us to this. So now we're going to get into the meat of this. And so what we have now, right? So we see the history of this. So what we have now is we have the Black woman who is weaponized not only against decent sisters, but they are weaponized against the good Afro man, because everything that they do, that they fought for, that they've marched for, had nothing to do with the Afro community, from BLM to anybody, to Charlene Cothran, to whatever. It was whatever the Caucasians wanted. That's what they marched for. The LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ. They are 79% Caucasian, meaning from Europe. They are 79% Caucasian. Only 12% Afro. Only 12% Afro. And of that, 58% of them are females, right? And so what you have here, brethren, is you have that we are at war, but half of us don't know that we are at war. We don't know who the combatants are, but understand that everybody is treating us like an enemy combatant if you are a good man. And now you got this sister here, right? And they're going to treat her as an enemy combatant, but worse than that, Khadijah, they're treating you as if you're a traitor because you want to stand up for what's right.
Correct. Because we all supposed to, I guess, all Black women, got
Supposed to be in that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so, like the other lady we was talking about earlier, right? And they coming after the women who are speaking up for righteousness. All right. They're coming after the women who are speaking up for righteousness. But brethren, this is not a new thing. This is not a new thing. And one of the things you need to be aware of is this was something that was started way back when this was going on, way back during slavery. And let's get this out of the way. Daughters of the Trade. When you go by Pearline Ibsen, right? All right, and it documents that many of the Black women that came over with on these ships, many of them were the concubines and the wives of the white slave owners and traders, right? And then you got during slavery that some Black women said to themselves, you know what, I could get in with the boss and stuff and get these manumissions. All right, understand this. This was a prize. And here are some of the links, right? So when we talk about manumissions, all right, some of the things I want y'all to understand. All right, some of the things I want y'all to understand. When we talk about manumissions is an ugly thing. All right, manumission is an ugly thing. All right, hold on. Let me grab my thing here. All right, let's see. History. Let me see where I have it. The gala.
Can you go back to that picture of that certificate?
Hold on. I accidentally closed down the thing I had for on Manumissions, but let me see. Hold on, maybe I didn't. And then again, maybe I did. Okay, let's see. Where did I have it? Hold on for a second. So, when we talk about manumissions, okay, when we talk about manumissions, I want to bring up a couple of things. The act was authorized in 1782, right? But what happened is, hold on. What happened is, hold it. There we go. Got what I wanted. See if I got the, yes, there we go. All right, this isn't the one I want. Okay. Do I want Oxford? So as I told you before, that Berkeley, do I want Berkeley? No, I want Berkeley. Let me see who I have up here. Didn't want Berkeley. So when we talk about, hold on, the index, slave rebellion, people, ivory. All right, let's look at this one. Okay, WashingtonPost.com. All right, hold on for a second. So when we talk about the slave, manumissions. All right, when we discuss manumissions, what happens is, according to history, 68% to 70% of Black women were slave owners. Hold on. Or the Black slave owners were Black women. Hold on. All right. So 68 to 70% of the black slave owners, or if slave owners, were black women. All right. Um, and it was not a good experience if you, hold on for a second. It was not a good experience. There we go. Is this it? No, that's LSU. All right, and so when I'm pointing out all this stuff, right? LSU, black slave owners, right? Um, as I'm pointing this stuff out, there is a lot of universities that done studies on this. All right, here we go. The root. Here we go. Were African slave owners benevolent? All right, and the answer to that is when the slaves were owned by black women, the answer would be a flat out no. All right, only 8% of only 8% of those slaves that were owned by black women were because of benevolence. But most of the black women got their ownership by way of manumission. In other words, the slave owner, the master slave, master the slave owner's slave stuff, left the slaves to the black woman. Many were family members. And according to family members, they were treated so bad that a lot of them tried to escape. A lot of them tried to escape. Um, there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. All right, let me see. And let me see if the other one is here. And I'm going to show you this real quick. All right, slave owners. Okay, here we go. So I found it. All right. So this is going to be very informative. So understand this, brethren. We are at war. Understand that we are at war. But what's up, Roger Spice? And what's up, Garland? Nessman. Yes. All right. And so basically, A, simplify USMC vet. Okay. And so basically, and the guess is unveiling with Khadijah. The unveiling with Khadijah. All right. And so let me click through all this. And so basically, as I click through your comments, yes, far more crueler than white men. All right, far more. All right, and so let me break this down this way, and we'll get back to this. All right, let me break this down this way. So, All right. So hopefully y'all can see this, right? So let's bring up some important points. All right. The majority of black slave owners were members of the mulatto class. In other words, they were black women with who had children with the white slave master. It was not the other way around. It wasn't. Let me tell you what happened if a white woman had a black child. That thing was destroyed, and it was a thing to them. But that child was immediately destroyed, and probably that slave killed. All right. So they were the sons and daughters of the white slave masters. Many of the mulatto slave owners separated themselves from the masses of black people and attempted to establish a caste system based on color, wealth, and free status. All right, according to Martin Delaney. The colored community, Charleston City, clung to the assumption of the superiority of white blood and brown skin complexion. All right, who's the first one to call you black? Who's the first one to call their children black? It isn't the men. It is not the men. All right, it's our mothers. For many of us, it's our own mothers. All right, and if it's not them, it's going to be the daughters that's raised by some black women. Right? You had the paper bag, the brown paper bag test. All right, and so now let's go to here. Let's go to here. The majority, if we go here and look down, you see the chart, you see year owners, slaves, go down to, and the slaves go down to 1030. And then I'm reading from that paragraph just immediately under that, right? The majority of urban black slave owners were women. In 1820, free black women represented 60% of the heads of household in the North, and 70% of the slave-holding heads of colored households in the South. I want y'all to understand this. They represented in 1820, 68% of the heads of household in the North. This is what slavery cost then in 1820. All right. And then 70% of slave holdings in the color households in the South. The large percentage of black women slave owner is explained by manumissions by their white fathers or inheritance from white fathers or husbands. Either their father was right, or if they were a bliggity black woman, my color black, their husbands were white.
And that make a lot of sense too, because if you look at it from one decade, the number of owners was 17, and then it jumped all the way to 200.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. All right. So this will be in the description box. I mean, let me put it like this. Let me put this in the description. Let me put this in this so that y'all can copy it more immediately. The link to this. All right. And so what does this mean? Is that every time they were given power, hey, what's up, Wayne King? Every time that they were given power over the Afro man, they wielded it with the backing of the Caucasian with an iron fist. All right. Not only that, but they are the ones that kept reminding you that the color of your skin was a bad thing, to the point that they used and caked themselves up with makeup and all the rest of that stuff. All right. I wish Khadijah would like to show herself. She is not comfortable right now because it's a woman thing, but she's beautiful, naturally beautiful. All right. And some of y'all might seen her on TikTok, but she's beautiful. Okay, naturally. And that it apparently is what men like, because she gets a lot of views on TikTok, right? But what's happening is that we're battling, even we are battling against people that want us, not necessarily her, because they think if they could destroy me, they could get her to comply with them. But here's the thing. When they destroy the man, the woman is going to go. Nobody wants the traitor. No one allows the traitor to live. They use the traitor, but they don't allow the traitor to live. Look at all your movies. I'm telling you. What's up, Daniel? Look at your movies. They use the traitor, but they do not allow the traitor to live. Every time he want what's coming to him, they kill him. All right. And so, exactly. So part of the battle strategy is a lot of Afro men have gotten their passport and they're leaving. Now, those of us that might find these rubies, all right, you plan for them to leave with you too. Period. All right. When Babylon falls, you don't want to be here. All right. I'm already learning that people that I thought was brothers, I know that there are a few brothers, right? But there are more and more snakes that's infiltrating and that's causing harm to people trying to do good. All right. And so, and that's kind of where we are right now. That's kind of where we are right now. We are in a place where we can't trust nobody. All right. Nobody close to us, and the people we can trust are too far apart. All right. Now let's get back to something else. Hold on.
Can I just add one thing to
Go
when you were
ahead.
talking about that colorism thing? It's so crazy because I only hear women, black women talk about that. Like I never have heard a black man say, "Get your black A out the sun," or your head nappy, or "Oh, I want my baby to have good hair." Like I've never heard a black man talk like that, but I've heard those sentiments from women and even women around me. Like I have like my maternal grandmother, she favored the lighter skinned kids, and I remember when I was little, she used to call me a squinty eyed heifer. And it's like, well, dang, my own grandma. I mean, and granted, she never kept a husband around, so I never knew who my grandfather was. But I never heard men talk like that or talk about me like that. It was only the women who say disparaging things like that. Like, as a matter of fact, I seen this girl put up a Instagram story of her daughter talking about my baby so black, my poor baby, bless her heart, or something like that. And I'm just like, comments like that is how you instill that self-hate in your kids at an early age. And whether you recognize it or not, making those comments about your kids being dark or stay your black self out the sun, that's where we learn that from. Like you said, it's not the men talking like that, it's women.
Right. And that's the psychological warfare to get us to despise what is actually our strength. The darker you are, the stronger you are, because of what melanin does, especially the type of melanin that we have. And so the people that are jealous of the melanin get their minions to get you to hate the melanin that the Most High blessed you with. And think about it. And so basically, These are all lies, right? So we had the prison lie. All the men are in prison. No, all the men aren't in prison. All the ones you let lay between your legs, along with you, your girlfriends who screwing the same dudes, those dudes are in prison, and they made a bunch of babies with y'all, and some ain't coming out for a while, and so you're gonna be alone, and you're gonna want the dudes that work real hard and stuff that you didn't want to help you raise another man's child, and you're going to dump him as soon as your dude get out of prison, whenever he get out of prison, because that's who they love, right? But this black men never fought for us. This is the next lie. So you had the first lie. So let's go through the lies. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me do something. All right. So let's go through these lies real quick. All right. All right. This is the first lie. These women have always opened up their mouths since the 60s and 70s, every time on TV shows. All right. And they decide to lie on us, right? Like the FBI, all right, they use these women to destroy us using these four methods right here, right? And I'm going to stop at 3 right here. They decide to prevent us good dudes from gaining respectability by discrediting us to the community. And how do they do it? They lie. But and they lie on us. They lie about SA. They lie to steal our children from us in the courts. They lie. Okay? Now, these women fought against the good women. They fought against brothers, and they used the system to destroy our children, community, men, and everything on behalf of this supremacist system that they say they're fighting against. But they're not fighting against it. They lied on the Afro man. And this is what I wanted to, this is one of the points I wanted to bring up when Khadijah was talking. One of the points that I wanted to bring up is, I don't know how many people remember, but the Afro man, and this is what the white woman hated as well. See, the Afro man saw himself as the ruler over his house, the king of his house. But he cherished the woman to the point that in churches, she had the right to vote. The white woman used that. How are you going to let the black woman have a right to vote? How are you going to let the black man have the right to vote? Not us. All right. The other thing is that the Afro man would give his check to the black woman. All right. He used to be able to do that. All right. Because she was the one that had the time to manage the money. He's doing hard physical labor. So he gives the check to her because even when she is working, she has some time to stop off at the bank. All right. So basically, this happened. And so when you look at this is all the way up to the 54s. Look at the Pullman porters and how they got rich and their story. They was taking instructions that they were learning from the trains, from the white men in business, and they were going back and telling their wives what to do. Their wives did it, and they became rich. All right. You can't do that right now is because women don't follow the men like that anymore. Men with vision. All right. They don't choose men with vision. They don't like men with vision. They like thug thizzle for shizzle my nizzle. And They like him running all through her themselves, all their friends and stuff. They don't mind if he's riding around spreading seeds that he can't afford to take care of while he's on his way back to prison. Because basically what they were thinking is that in this battle that we were so brain whipped that when he goes to prison, they could get one of the simps to come in, be stepdaddy for a minute. But this has gone so bad, and men have been treated with so much disrespect and been left with so much risk and child support for children they didn't even have, that when myself, Charles Tyler, and stuff, when we was doing videos about going to Brazil, when I had them Brazilian women in a lot of my videos, all right, and people were like, what? They really like us and stuff. And so this was the thing. Now they're like, oh, while the black woman was talking about divesting, the Afro man, the Passport brothers, decided, you know what? We ain't going to talk about it. We leaving. And we're not saying it's a divestment. We're saying it's a risk. It's too much of a risk. And we now clearly see the black woman as our main adversary. She's working on behalf of the supremacist system, and she holds the whip, and the whip is the court system. It's sad to say, but it is what it is. And so a lot of brothers is getting them passports, and only now do they realize that brothers are waking up and they're deciding to fight this war. Right? We're finding our rubies, and we're snatching them out of the jaws of the wolves. But also, brothers are finding rubies in other countries. Sooner or later, the good brothers, are going to move all the way out of this country with our mentality, our resources, and everything. And the black woman is going to be left with her first love, just like Ezekiel said. Only her lovers are going to turn in on her, like Ezekiel said. Those whom she loved and those whom she hated. The lovers that she loved will turn on her, and the men that she hated. Now, the men that she hated is turning in on her by leaving. And now they're crying, we need to be protected. And now they're trying to fake like they have femininity. But brothers ain't falling for it, because we done went overseas and seen what femininity looks like. So we could tell the real from the fake. All right. And so now the welfare lie. It wasn't welfare because welfare existed 1935. Right? 1935 for white people. And we were still together. All right. And so when we came to the conclusion is feminism, and black women decided to be feminists and fight for white women's causes against the Afro man, when the Afro man used to give her his check, when we used to be together, all right, and all this abuse they said that the man did, that's a damn lie. And the women know it's a lie. But that's the thing. They lie against us. Why? Because they think they're superior to us. And so they think they're supreme. And so they lie to maintain that supremacy over us. All right. They lie on us to try to get other people to believe it. And hell, other people don't believe it. White people don't believe it because they do the studies. Oh, don't forget. Get the thumbs up if you haven't put the thumbs up already. And when you can, share the video. My PayPal, me, and Cash App will be in the description box. Or it is in the description box, and you know, all the rest of it. And remember, before you donate to anybody, you take care of yourself and family first. You always take care of yourself and family first, before you donate a dime to anybody else, even me. Period. All right, you always take care of yourself and family first. So, but you can always give that thumbs up. All right. If you haven't subscribed, or even if you did subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed. All right. All right. I will put these links in the description box too. All right. So we're going to get into the last part of this. The manumission, the prison system, all lies, all lies. Black women were splitting up the family long before the prison system started to take a toll. And when it took a toll, it only took a toll on the 1% of the people that were selling drugs and going to prison. But the working men, he wasn't allowed to get any. And if you wasn't light-skinned with a jerry curl, you wasn't getting crap. I'm just saying, in the 80s, all right, if you didn't have that soul glow, all right, and so, and problems are in Africa and stuff. The women have taken to this feminist stuff, and that's why I profess going to South America, because they weren't playing that to a degree. Brazil kind of to a degree, but Colombia, oh hell to the no. And the Philippines don't want it there. The Philippines are on YouTube, they're online, they're on Facebook. They're like, American women, keep your damn feminism over there. We don't want it in the Philippines. All right, here's the final lie. Black men never fought for us. Y'all know that the Gullah Geechee, the Gullah Wars, the Black Afro Indians beat the U.S. Army back-to-back wars. They whipped they butts. They tore their butthole a new one. All right. So the Gullahs beat the American Army. I want y'all to understand that. All right. Not only did the Gullah beat the American Army, but another thing I want y'all to understand, that the Gullahs beat the American Army, but the Nat Turner Rebellion, I'm going to just put this in I'm going to put this in the whatchamacallit. All right. I'm going to put this in let's see who else popped in. All right. So I'm going to put it in the description box. The Nat Turner Rebellion did one thing. It caused the people in Virginia to want to abolish slavery. The real reason why slavery was abolished was not because of the Civil War, was not because of Lincoln. It was because of the Gullah Wars and the Slave Rebellion. They realized that the Afro men just wasn't playing. All right. And the Nat Turner rebellion, that rebellion, what the white people did is, at the end of it, they rounded up 120 black people and they just summarily murdered them. But then this is what they do. This is what they've been doing. This is what the police do. Okay? And so during this war, all right, during this time, the Nat Turner Rebellion caused the Virginians to want to, as a people, they want to They wanted to abolish slavery, but they decided, the government and the governor decided to double down instead. All right. See, here's the thing. The other part of the war is propaganda. And one of the biggest propaganda tricks that they use is they want us to forget about slavery. Why? It isn't that they have any kind of feeling about the evil and the heinous things that they did. But if we remember it and we keep remembering it, we will never trust white people or its government. That's why they want us to forget slavery. The people who remember slavery and remember how they doubled down, how sneaky they were, how they were snakes, how unrighteous they were, and the fact that there was never any recompense. They never repented for their actions. And instead of repenting, they continue to lie to this day. I mean, think about it. They continue to lie to this day. So people understand this and people look at this, but now you turned the black woman against us. All right. We like, okay, cool. That's cool. All right. So now it's fight back time. All right. And how we fight back? We hurt them in the pockets. The reason why Biden is coming up with all these laws all of a sudden, these travel laws, because when we get our passport and with us leaving in droves, all right, even when we come back, we're not effing with the black woman. All right. If we don't already have a sister, we don't want nothing to do with the black woman. As a matter of fact, when we come back, unless you are a sister, we ain't even trying to holler at you. For real though. And this is why I have been telling sisters, all right, there are some good sisters. I said, right now is the time you can't sit on your behind and be like, I'm going to just look dainty and wait for a brother. If you are a sister, you got to go to where the brother is. Period. If you're a sister. And you got to do it. You got to put skin in the game. No more can you sit and I'm waiting for my princess. No, that ain't going to happen. Because women have, the black women have fouled things up so bad for sisters that we can't tell y'all from the black women until you separate. But that's what was supposed to always happen. And even with us brothers, this is what was supposed to always happen. Scripture says that we are supposed to separate, sanctify ourselves. Sanctify means to separate. We're not supposed to tarry. What does it say? Walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, or sit in the seat or the scornful. Let me get that right. Let me get that real quick. Because when I tell you we are supposed to leave them alone, I'm not just let me do this. Walk not oops. All right. I wonder who could find that first. All right, let's see. Walk not in the counsel of the ungodly. Let's see. Let's see. No, this is a KJV. I hope I spelled council right. Hold on. Okay, I think this is in Proverbs. Or is it in Psalms? Okay, hold on. Man, council. I used to know this.
Which council are you trying to spell?
There's something that says walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, or sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Like council, like COUNSEL?
Yeah, thank you. In FUL. Oh, I forgot the first part of it. Psalms 111. Okay, it's Psalms 111. And so let's do this one. Yeah, so I'm gonna do the King James version and the more directly Hebrew. All right, this is it. Yeah, it's S. I don't know. I spelled it wrong. That's why I couldn't find nothing. Cause y'all, my spelling's just okay. So here it is. Walk not in the counsel of the ungodly. So we'll put it up. All right. Right. And here's the thing. So, and women don't understand this. The spirit of the Most High is with the men. We have a direct connection with the Most High in a way that the women don't, because her connection with the Most High was severed during the fruit incident, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Give them hell. That so throughout the latter part of the 1800s, all the way up to 1950, we were doing much better than the Caucasian as a unit. They left us. Yeah. People are saying Brazil is crap because one woman from Brazil 19 had twins from two different dudes. Like, yeah, but here's the thing. We're not saying, and y'all know my experience in Brazil. Y'all know my experience. I don't sit there and say it's paradise. What I say is people care more about the community. The women care more about men. The women treat men like men. And yeah, you still have thug thizzles that's trying to follow us, that's been trying to make something, and they're going to go and try to F things up. Right. And so that's basically it. Brazil is full of single mothers that breastfeed, that want what's best for their children. The thing is, when you talk about abortion, oh, in America, the black woman will kill this. There's like, what? Actually abort your child? They don't do that. They don't be hitting everybody. There's no court system there to persecute you. And so there's the difference. They don't try to persecute you in Brazil. And that is the big difference between there and the US. All right. In the US, the women persecute you. They persecute you, they set you up, and they try to destroy you. All right. And so that's what we're dealing with. We are dealing with, hold on, let me get rid of these things in here. Similar. All right. All right. I had two trolls up in here. Okay. I think y'all got rid of it. Okay. And so basically, all right, now, right. This is what I was looking for. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. All right, and so let me see what my more directly Hebrew translation has. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, we were doing well. While the white people were really suffering, we were doing well. Um, the thing that really destroyed us was when the black woman decided that she was going to war against us on behalf of the Caucasian system and government. They made a conscious decision to do that, and they decided to head up all their propaganda work and all the rest of that stuff. And black people, yes, 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 yes. And so this is what was going on. In Haiti at the time, those born of the relationship between the black woman and the French soldiers warred against the Haitians on behalf of the French. Okay. And so this is why there's such a big problem with the mulatto. That's why Haitians don't really trust them like that. Because there's a history that, and you can't blame them. They're going to fight on the side of their father. That's why I tell people there's no mixed. You are who your father is. So blessed is the man who walk not in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of the scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and he meditates in his Torah all day and night. So that's what that says. And so basically, what it's saying, brethren, what we trying to say here? Let me put that one back up. What we're trying to say is, when we see that they wicked as hell, we supposed to roll on out. We're not supposed to be around women that will betray us. And we're supposed to leave them alone at the first sign of betrayal. That's what being a man is. Yeah, we're going to feel sad for a minute. But if a woman betrayed me, I'm not going to be sad that I have to leave her alone. I'm going to be a little sad at the betrayal. I'm going to be like, man. Right? And so that's what's going to, the betrayal is what's going to be the disappointment. But when that betrayal happened, I'm gone. Because that is where her heart is. It's not with you. All right. These are the things that we need to learn. But when a woman is with you and demonstrate that she's with you, then you go all out for that one. Because she's with you. Right? And you got to make sure, and you know she's with you is because not only does she support you, right? One of the things that I see going on right now is where, especially with Black women, they'll get with people, they'll get with a man, but it's a secret, like on TikTok. It's a secret. If you look at the Brazilian, remember Mimi, right? Way back when, I think it was 2016, 17. All right. Remember, she was around me all the time. She was in the videos. She didn't mind. She was seen with me. She was on the beach with me. And so if you look at a man with a Brazilian woman, I see on my Facebook page, a dude that's with a Brazilian woman I know, right? I know them personally, right? And their picture is up all the time, but that's how they are. Brazilians, they take pictures with their family or with their woman and stuff. Now they'll do their own thing and stuff like that. But in the United States, you can't even tell when people are in a relationship. And I'm going to tell you why this is a problem. Because of the other commandment, thou shalt not. What's the thou shalt not that y'all shalt not do? The thou shalt not that you shalt not do is mess around and F around with somebody else's woman. But how do you know that if you don't even know they're in a relationship? Right? And so this is why there's a lot of mess going on in the United States. I'm going to leave this up here. This is why there's a lot of mess going on in the United States, because women are exercising a lot of wicked options, and this is wickedness at its worst, right? Confusing seeds, so dudes don't know who the father is. All right. And so now a bunch of dudes is around here committing adultery because they don't know that the woman has a man. All right. And that, oh, ain't no paper. No, that mess don't work. Because there was never supposed to be a marriage license. You don't mess with somebody else's woman. If a man is with a woman and he's taking care of her and stuff like that, or he's doing anything, or it's the beginning of a relationship, it is anything of a relationship, she is off limits. But we don't do that. And more so, you got a lot of dudes trying to go after women that they know are married. That's wickedness. We're not supposed to be nowhere around them kind of dudes. Period. That's the all ungodly we supposed to not walk in the counsel of, or stand around, or sit in their seats, or near them. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm back. All right. So this is the reason there is so much wickedness in the house. All right. One, we're not taught by our mothers to have respect for the commandments, have respect for relationships, or anything else like that. Two, the reason we're not taught that is because they prepare us to be manipulated by other women. Period. Three, we are torn apart as a society because of this adultery thing. Ain't no such thing as cheating. There is no such thing as cheating. All right. You can't cheat. There's no such thing as cheating. It's called adultery if you're committing something. If you're committing something, you're committing adultery. All right. Exodus 21. Hold on, let me see something. I'm going to show y'all something. 10. Okay, Exodus 21 and 10. All right, I'm going to show you something. And this is why they don't want you to read the commandments or learn anything. So Exodus 21 and 10. All right. Here we go. We got the adultery thing. Right. And so dudes making plans to do this. But here's the thing. This is why there's no such thing as cheating. Right? It's called adultery. When a man goes after another man's woman, that's adultery. That's punishable by death, both for the woman and that man. It should be. The husband has the right to do that, just not in our society, because our society rewards wickedness. Right? Now, a man can have more than one wife. There are rules about it. If he takes another wife, Her food and her covering and her marriage rights are not to be diminished of the first one. So if a man takes a second wife, he don't diminish. In other words, the same way you take care of the first one, you have to be able to take care of the second one. Bottom line. Okay? Hold on for a second. We have a ridiculously unprincipled society. All right, and then let's put in Deuteronomy 21 and 15 so that there is real clear clarification on this issue. All right, so Deuteronomy. All right, when a man has two wives, one loved, the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and unloved, the firstborn son is of her who is unloved, Deuteronomy 26. Then it shall be on the day that he makes his son's inheritance his possession, he is not allowed to treat the son of the beloved wife as firstborn in the face of the son of the unloved, who is truly the firstborn. Right? And so there are rules regarding how you treat children, women, and everything in the relationship when it comes to what the wife, children, and stuff. So the crime that's being committed when these dudes are going after other people's women is called adultery. So if anybody go after my woman, she and that man is guilty of adultery if they hook up. Period. And I'm supposed to be gone. Period. In our society, I'm out, right? I am out. And that's going to be that man's job to take care of her. All right. Back in the day, that's a death sentence. That's why I'm careful. And I was careful about who I met. That's why you cannot be with a woman who has a child. Because if a woman has a child, well, two things. If a woman has a child and she's getting child support, the fact that she's getting child support means that she has a husband. Now, you might not call her husband is because the court's making them give child support, but she is still getting child support from that man. So she's off limits. Period. That's the number one reason that brothers should be thinking about, spiritual brothers should be thinking about when it comes to dealing with women who have children. Now, if she's a widow, the husband died, then we are supposed to step in. If she kept herself up, if you are allowed to discipline and stuff. So there's a whole lot to go into that if she's a widow or if the child is a bastard, meaning the father is unknown. Like the woman literally don't know, not she pretending not to know. She literally doesn't know. All right, then we take in and this is where like adoption, say like the child's father is unknown. This is where adoption would come in. I think this has a lot to do with the adoption principle, right? And so that's basically it. But outside of that, we're not supposed to be dealing with evil. We're not supposed to be around evil people, and we're supposed to call them out. Oh, yeah. Me and Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones. We got a thing going on. Think about that. Think about that. Me and Mrs. Jones, but look at a lot of these songs like that. What about this? I had to meet you here today. I'm going to miss. There's just so many things to say. All that. Please don't stop me till I'm through. And what does he say? This is a thing that I hate to do. Hold on. Now, here's the catchy part. We've been meeting here so long. And what we got is all wrong. Please, darling, don't you cry. Let's just kiss and say goodbye. He says, I got ties, and so do you. When you really think about, hold on, what was the other one? They got a lot of women stealing adultery songs in our soul music. They have a lot of women stealing adultery. And you know why these dudes were singing these songs? Because women wanted to be stolen out of what they thought was monotony. Hey, what's up, brother Elijah? Hello. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. All right. There's a lot of songs like this. The only group, I'm gonna be real. The only group that was really singing songs about not committing adultery was Mint Condition. All right, it was Earth, Wind, and Fire didn't sing about that either. They sang about love. Boogie Wonderland, if you really listen to the words of that, that's a really deep song. You're too busy dancing. You're like, dance. Ooh, yeah. Boogie Wonderland. Ha, ha. And you're like, yeah. So, like, you know, you're doing your thing. But then when you sit down and look at the words, just go read the lyrics, you'll be like, oh, this song is dark. And it's singing about the drug culture there. But remember, Earth, Wind, and Fire was like the spiritual, like everybody was into a particular spirituality in that group. Um, and what else? There was a lot of songs. Oh, yeah. Right, yeah. Boys to Men didn't sing that. Yeah, and so we had a few groups. We had a few groups that was around, but we had a lot. Let's see, and so yeah, promoting this adultery thing. Khadijah, do you yeah, because you music like me. Um, hey, lady, your husband is cheating on us.
They even had the one song that was from a woman's point of view when she found a man's number or to found a other woman's number in her man pocket. What was the song? Woman to Woman, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah. And that was, oh man, that had to be the dumbest song. I pay his car note. I pay the bills. I buy his clothes. I'm like, dang, no wonder he leaving you. He feel more like a child than a man.
Mm.
Remember this has your husband cheating? But I mean, this is, hey lady, your husband's cheating on us. Hold on. What else we got? Um, yeah, Betty Wright. Woman to Woman was the name of that song. Woman to Woman was the name of that song.
Oh yeah, what's that other song? It'd be like if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Is that Bobby Womack?
Yeah. Um, let's see. What else? What other songs we got going on? And so, and now you see why women are so women are so gassed up, because we've been telling them that, okay, there is no off limits for you. Dang, Michael, even Michael. As we lay, we forgot about tomorrow. As we lay, ooh. Oh, hold it. It's morning, and we slept the night away. Oh, yeah. A new day brings reality, and now we must go our separate ways. Dang, that's a deep song right there. They overslept. Mm-mm. And but if you look at mint condition, they be like, "What kind of man would I be if I lived unfaithfully? And what kind of girl would you be if you did the same?"
You know what? Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it just kind of make me think about the timeline of like, feminism and stuff like that, that sexual liberation and all of that, and how the songs progressively got
Worse.
promiscuous too. Yeah. To the point where by the time you reach the 80s and the 90s, the men were almost singing from a position of a woman. Like,
Right.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And begging.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
We used to say Teddy Pendergrass didn't beg. He like, you got what I need. And but then you compare that to Lenny Wilkins. You know I love you.
Oh yeah.
I love. I was like, oh my goodness, them women used to just go crazy for that, and still do.
We need to get you signed up for American Idol.
Let's see, very intelligent. She is very one loyal king. Secret lovers, that's what we are trying to hide. Oh yeah, yeah, so real, so real. Who's making love to your old woman while you're out making? But that really is not one of those songs. It seems like that song is sung from the perspective of somebody that's trying to warn somebody that while they out, she's stepping out. Shirley Murdoch and Zach. Oh, Luther Ingram. That's who's singing Loving You Is Wrong. I Don't Want to Be Right. Yep, Stokely and the boys, Mint Condition. That's my group right there. 504 boys, you ain't got to say too much from look at you. I could tell you. Now, both of them are in a relationship. Great song, though. Woo, Lord, they just come straight with it. You just want to F you, and that's, yep. Yeah, yeah. Woo, Lord, remember the time. Okay, yeah, yep. All right, yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of these songs out there like this. And basically, all you can really listen to is Earth, Wind, and Fire. Would you mind if I held, if you kiss, if I
Now, what
love?
about, hold on now, don't forget about The Reasons. That song was
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of,
The reasons,
that one was
the
kind of out there.
reasons that we're here, the reasons that we're here, feelings won't disappear. Huh?
Oh, you know what? That's the other song that
And
I think of too.
what?
That you, me, and he, what we gonna
Oh no,
do,
what we gonna
baby?
do
Yeah, now
today?
that was
I
kind of
don't
out there.
wanna let you go. Oh, oh, oh. M. Toomey. M.
Yeah.
Toomey sang that
Yep.
song.
Yep.
Dang, when you really think about our music, if you really think about our music and the message behind our music, it's really effed up. But was our music was reflecting reality. Our music was reflecting reality. Basically, it was reflecting "I'ma Steal Your Woman" reality. And there was only like a few groups. This can help me. I'm not worried about the doggone thing. Take anything you bring. I know I love the sunshine and still accept the rain. Who sings that? When I'm in a lonely room and I just can't think of you. I tried everything to occupy my mind, but there's no substitute. Thinking all that life could be when you're not around. And just cannot find my way. I didn't even know up from down. Oh my, been around, oh baby, down. I'm talking I'm talking
Is that a switch?
about you.
A
Oh,
switch?
here it is. I call your name.
Yeah, I was trying to think.
I feel lonely, babe. Yeah. Yeah, music sets the atmosphere. And so they had some good songs. What was the other one they had?
They'll never be.
Yeah. Since, hold on, let me sing. We are lying here all for the first time. You and I. So me, what you do for me? And then will I? Don't try to hide your nature. Oh, I love. They'll never. No, that ain't a cheating song. I'll never be a better love. Oh, that is a cheating song. No matter how he treats you, no matter how he treats no, 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 no. There'll never be. No, 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 no. Please come over here and let me whisper in your ear. That's a cheating song. I'll say something good to you that you always wanted to hear. Yep. That's a cheating song. Yep, they got us all up. Keith Sweat. Now we talking about begging. That's the beggingest dude right there. But like our music is a reflection of the culture. And remember, they're catering to women. So the reflection of our culture is, and here's the other thing. While you got a lot of men catering to women, you really didn't have women except after the 60s that were really catering to men. All right, you really didn't have that. About the only one is Gladys. Remember, L.A. proved too much for the man, too much for the man. He couldn't make it. He found out the hard way that dreams don't always come true. Said he's going, well, he's going back to find. All right, and she said, I'd rather be with him than live with. I'd rather be with him living in his world than live without him in mine. Oh, hello, my love. I heard a kiss from you. Red flower too. All through the morning rain, okay. The sun doesn't shine. Blue falling, red fire run through my mind. Hi, pardon, I see. You know what? That's a weird song. Sounds like just that sounds like Strawberry Letter 23. Is it cool? Is it cool if you arrive and I'll see me? I'm gonna be my baby. I'm free, crying all over sea. I don't know. Hold on, let's see. Jody got your girl and gone. Army people hear that all the time. Oh yeah. And she would get picked. That's the issue. She would get picked. And she would get picked by a decent dude that wouldn't mind taking care of her, sharing the life with her. And see, that's what a lot of these women are missing. Eastside boys. Yeah, so if you look at all these, oh Lord, and then the Uncle Luke and Two Live Crew and all the rest of that stuff. Oh man, it took music right straight down the gutter. Okay, we were discussing how the feminist cater to women only agenda brought about all of this. And when you look at our music, okay, when you look at our music, it's a bunch of men catering to females trying to take the other men. And at the beginning of it, I said this, that when we get involved into that stuff, right, that it is adultery. It is adultery. These dudes are trying to talk you into adultery, literally. All right. And so we're supposed to separate from all this, right? And so we start listening to all these songs and stuff like that. And I bet you we never really started paying attention to the lyrics to a lot of these songs. And now we just running off the top of our head. All these songs that we really, yeah, secret lovers, right? And we really starting to think, all right, we're really starting to think about all these songs that are a part, a serious part of, now that we start, Rasan. Yeah, anything Keith Sweat, Keith Sweat be begging. Teddy Pendergrass and stuff. And so, and we now that we're starting to think of all these songs, all right, now that we're starting to think of all these songs, right? Oh, she knows a lot of these. She knows. She know music like I do, y'all. She don't think she can sing, but she know music like I do. If Joe, if I was your man, and so, and why are we singing? And why are these songs directed at other? And so, if I was your man, these are songs that's catering to women to get them to think about not staying in relationships as a chaste woman.
So it kind of like is kind of like bring it full circle back to what the conversation originally started as. Is more of them lies, believing them lies, and they just put them in the form of songs and nice melodies. So it made the lies more believable, that it was, okay to do certain stuff or, behave in certain ways that really wasn't,
And all these songs are lies.
Right.
All of them. When we go, and now that we're sitting back and thinking about the lyrics and start popping up, and now we're just popping up songs and stuff. And I bet you until we got into this leg of the conversation about how our music was catering to the feminists, right? And how our music was talking about, okay, it's okay to commit adultery, because that's what it's saying. That's what our music is saying. I could do better than him.
It kind of was almost like, women, again, trying to be in a position of men as far as like sexual and stuff like that. Like, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So kind of like promoting that promiscuity, and it's just kind of masked because you don't really hear it. That's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like as the time progressed, so did the music and the message in the music.
Right. And remember, we're not putting out the music. We're putting out the music, and let me put it this way. The leading cause of music are what people are actually looking for is they're looking to please the woman. They're looking to please women. Anything that tickles their ears will make them money. Women buy these love songs or cheat songs or adultery songs. Women is buying this. LL Cool J, women, man, when he put I Need Love, all right, and so, yeah, women, they're catering to women and women only because like everybody is catering to women. They're the ones that's getting the money and buying these products, and then they get this, and people actually think these songs are love songs. And so while you're in bed and stuff like that, and if you're not careful, you start planning other things in her head that was not there before. I wonder if I can get greener grass on the other side. That's what the music is saying. And one of the reasons I stopped playing my playing the organ and playing my keyboard in churches is that I realized that I was a draw. That I was a draw, especially when I had a drummer. I was a draw. People would come there because they knew they was going to get a good shout in. And when I played like slow stuff, and I realized how I could move people through music. So I stopped playing, and I was getting paid. But when I realized that all money ain't good money, and I always knew that, but when I realized that these people aren't trying to learn, they're coming here for a feeling, and then why am I feeding into this if they're not going to listen to or try to learn anything? And now then I start understanding that it ain't about learning anything. It's a cop out that everybody can do with anything they want, treat anybody any kind of way, but so long as they go to church, it's all underwater under the bridge for the next week because you went to church. You didn't repent from anything you did, right? And you had more cheating going on in the church with the pastor and stuff like that, and not cheating, adultery. But this and the church was the big part of all of this, and that's how they weakened us. We have no fight in us left because of the church. Turn the other cheek and all that stuff. The Caucasians and police shoot us, and while they shoot us with guns, we pray. And their church people ain't praying. So hold on. And 1 foot out with them. Ah, there it is, Rasan. There it is right there. The definition. That's the definition right there. We added stuff that wasn't the definition of that word, like making it about sex, but that is the definition. You see that, Khadijah?
Oh, on the screen.
Uh-huh. That's the
Yeah.
definition. And this is why we say this, because biblically, there's a delineation between a prostitute and a whore. And people's like, what's the difference? This is it. This woman does what she does because she disrespects male authority. The other is pro quo, who probably in the moment respect male authority. The sounds of and yeah. And so this is why these women like Joe. Everybody is telling the women that your man is inadequate. No matter what he does, he's going to be inadequate. Because I'm going to sing things that nobody's going to do for you, but I'm going to sing them like they will.
I know that we kind of got off topic with talking about the music, but maybe that should be another video that you should do, another topic, like relating the promiscuity and the progression of in the music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coupling that with, you know, the feminist ideology.
Well, no, we do music from the point of view of simps. All right, because the problem with the music is the industry and the dudes that get in the industry. All right, unlike Earth, Wind, and Fire and stuff like that, it's like the rappers, like this dude who does all the demonic stuff to sell rap things or just to be in the thing. The problem with this is in this, you got people lying to women, right? And the problem is though, in this thing, it's not the women. They're being led by they're chasing money, right? And so the artists themselves are evil. We just never really looked at it like that because the song was catchy, the music was that, you know what I mean? And we never really stopped to analyze um, the words that they're singing. We never really stopped to understand that these dudes are telling women they could have it all, which is the feminist thing. But the problem isn't the women, is because it's the dudes that's making the music.
Right. That's what I mean. Like maybe you should do a topic about that, just a suggestion.
Yeah,
But well,
yeah, that's a good topic. Topic.
yeah. But
Mhm.
I've got to get off. So it's
Okay.
been real. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we got to chat it up about some history and stuff and talk about music. That's
Mhm.
always a good
What's
topic.
up, Mr. Pirate Brain? Yeah, it's time to go.
So yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna head out. But thanks for having me and good night.
Good
Good night
night.
to the chat.
All right, let's see. So, yeah. And it goes. So, y'all, I'm about to bust a move. All right. Don't forget to make sure you're subscribed. All right. Make sure you don't forget to make sure you subscribe. Um, and yeah, we started at 8. And remember, we start at 8 on Saturdays. 8 on Saturdays. And so subscribe so you can see what the topic is, and it'll be up on my thing, right? So we start at 8 on Saturdays. So with that said, I'm out. Um, Peace, love, and soul. Don't forget, if you care to donate, my PayPal and Cash App is in the description box. But remember, you take care of yourself and family first. And with that said, peace, love, and soul, everybody.